guys may have already heard of this. Many of you may not have, which of course is why I'm going to tell you about it, because it's a good thing to hear. But recently, it's come out in various places that the COVID numbers were, well, not necessarily messed with, but they decided to make some corrections over there at the CDC. Not necessarily corrections as in the numbers are wrong, it's just maybe we want to report them a little bit more accurately. All right, so here's the big deal, right? We've got well over 100,000 folks, almost 200,000 deaths in the United States from COVID. All right, the numbers I have right now are 169,000, a little over 169,000. That's a lot of people dying from COVID. Now, normally when you hear that, dying from COVID, you're thinking from COVID. That's it. Just got COVID, got sick, died. However, a few tweaks were put into the data. Make some quick adjustments here. And what do we find out? Only 6% of the deaths from COVID were from COVID alone. As in, they got the disease and then dropped dead because of it. The other 94%, on average, had 2.6. I don't know how you get a point in there. That sounds silly to me. But according to CDC's website, 2.6 additional causes for their death. So you had anywhere between 2 and 3 other things involved for them to die. Hold on a minute. That's some craziness right there. Now, I hear about this news. I actually got the news before I found it on the social media sites. I actually got it from a very trusted, but must be well hidden source. We can't reveal our sources here. But he is a doctor, a medical practitioner. When I heard of this thing, what? Seriously? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. And anyhow, so I'm looking through the internet, trying to find it myself. Not that I don't trust the doctor. I absolutely trust the doctor, but I like having those stats right in front of me so I can talk to you guys about it. Anyhow, so I'm looking through what's referred to as fake book. Okay, Facebook in reality, but let's face it, half of it's fake. I'm going through, scrolling through, and finally find some of the places on there. I wasn't even looking for it on Facebook. I was looking for something else entirely, and just happened to run across it. And came across something, piqued my interest. Fact check, this is all lies and deceit. Come again? What do you mean it's all lies and deceit? Facebook, who are you to tell me that there are lies and deceit on this numbers thing? So I decided to click on it. Let's just see what's going on here. Let me find out what's happening. Well, it turns out, going to this website, which we will be showing momentarily, they are saying that everybody's reading the data wrong. That you don't understand what comorbidity means, and you don't understand what the numbers mean, and blah, blah, blah. So I decided, you know what would be really fun to do? Let's fact check the fact checkers, because they are so wrong. They're so far off base. Not with their information. The information is not incorrect. They are sort of truthful in it, but they're completely off base in the sense that that's not at all what we said. So first we're going to track down what it was that this fact check said, and then we're going to take a look at the actual data itself to make life interesting. Now, firstly, let's take a look at what this site is. Should hopefully give us some quick, hello, something is wrong here. But the website itself is referred to as Lead Stories. Okay, whatever. And we have all this on the right side. We have hoax alert, hoax alert, hoax alert. Oh, so these guys really think that they are all that is when it comes to knowing what's right and what's wrong. Ooh, look, mass do work, not same guy. We're going to ignore all those because I don't give a flying hoot. But this should give you an idea that these guys are immediately trying to continue whatever the media is already saying. Doctor misleads. Okay. Notice how the doctor's in quotation marks. All right, so what happened here? Going through all the rest of this, and we're not going to read it word for word because that's silliness, but according to this here fact-checking website, the doctor that originally put this stuff out, this Dr. Elizabeth Hesse, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, they're saying is some kind of quack job. All right, we have here that she is a chiropractor from Woodinville, Washington, and they are saying Hesse and other posters of this claim, one of which is Donald Trump, by the way, but moving on, make two mistakes commonly made by untrained people. All right, that's an insult right there. Look at this. Untrained people. We are trained in interpreting the data, and you are not. That's just rude. I'm highly trained in interpreting data, knockhead. All right, so then we have who are unfamiliar with the CDC's COVID-19 disease fatality data. Okay, continuing on with you're too dumb. So statement number one, comorbidity does not mean cause of death. Comorbidity is not the same as cause of death. Yeah, nobody said it was. In fact, let's look at what was actually said. In their first thing they wanted to pull out, copied after I verified it, look for the link below. This week, the CDC quietly updated the COVID number to admit that only 6% of the 153,000 at the time recorded actually died from COVID. Okay, here's what needs to happen in order for this fact check to completely be inaccurate in fact checking the fact check. All this person would have had to put in here at the end here would be alone. And then the whole argument for these fact checker knuckleheads would be shut down. And then going on down, that's 6% is 9,210 as of the posting of this thing. The other 94% had 2 to 3 other serious illnesses, and the overwhelming majority were very advanced age, 90% in nursing homes. This is not saying it's not real. I'm not debating that. Just showing updated numbers. Not here to fight. Sick of fighting. Okay, so where in these snapshots you have given us, oh great fact-checking knuckleheads, does she say that these are causes of death? It says 2 or 3 other serious illnesses. So you're starting off completely wrong by saying that we were stupid, and we didn't say 2 or 3 other causes of death, just serious illnesses. So one of the things that I had stated way back when we started on this nonsense ride known as COVID is that a lot of the people who died had already had one foot in the grave, in a sense. They already were suffering from something terrible, and COVID helped kind of push them over the edge. Sounds morbid, I know, but comorbidity. Here, let's talk about comorbidity, because they're saying not the same as cause of death. No, comorbidity means co, meaning more than one, cooperation, and then morbidity, as in, dealing with death. So we have this, we're not saying that it's cause of death, it just led to the death. More than one thing leading to the death. This is just annoying, and I don't care about their second point about provisional data because it's updated, whatever. That's stupid. I don't even know what they're trying to say she didn't say. Now, one of the other things that was listed in here a little bit earlier on, if I remember right, yeah, here it is. 6% figure has been on the CDC website since at least July 12th, so it wasn't quietly updated as some are claiming. All right, so this is the other one that I wanted to shut down on this fact-checking thing. Allow me to explain what we mean by silently updating. Okay, you're telling me that as of July 12th, we've had these comorbidity statistics showing that people were dying from more than just COVID. It was all together. They had a whole whack of things before they keeled over. So that tells me that if we've had this since July 12th, and it is the end of August, beginning of September before we hear about it, that's done pretty quietly. How did nobody notice this? Why is this not on the front page of the CDC? Why is this not on the news all the time with CNN, Fox, and MSNBC and all them other crackpots? That's how you do it quietly. Now, as far as the actual quietly updating bit with, they weren't trying to hide the data, I beg to disagree, because it took me a lot to try to find this again on my own. If I went through the link that was already posted somewhere where I could find said link, hey, it was easy to find because I had the link already. But if you try going in through the CDC's website, like from the main page of the CDC, it is really hard to find. There's no link on it. I even searched comorbidity, and there was nothing there. I searched on Google and DuckDuckGo, two different search providers, for COVID comorbidity. Couldn't find it. In fact, I can't remember what the exact search string was, but something like CDC COVID comorbidity all together, and then you search down about 6 links, then it was finally there. I could find the same stuff everybody else has been talking about. So don't tell me it wasn't quiet. They were definitely trying to hide this. This should have been front page news, not way in the back. Now, I'm going to switch over here, click of the tabs, and here's the actual data as of today. Now, like I said, when the post was originally made, this a few days ago, so these numbers are a little bit more so. But the stats still are the same. 6% of the deaths from COVID-19 were COVID-19 alone. The other 94% were something else. And they have all the numbers. They have all the age groups, the various diseases. It's very interesting to look at. Some of the things, though, in here makes it a little bit interesting to me that this is related here. So first off, as of today, we have 169,044 people that have died. Now, as the chiropractor, which by the way, that was one of the things they're making fun of her. She's a chiropractor. She doesn't know anything. She's not a real doctor. No, chiropractors are real doctors, dipstick. They got to get a degree just like everybody else. All right, but she had mentioned that a lot of it, a huge portion of these numbers, were from the older age groups. You have between the ages of 0 and 24, 357 people died in the United States. Now, this is the numbers were collected August 29th. So 357 people died from between the ages of 0 and 24 since, well, it looks like the 1st of February. 1st of February to August 29th. It's a little over. That's almost 7 months, and only 357 people died between the ages of 0 and 24. That's a really tiny number, and yet who's all being locked away? Right? They're trying to keep all the kids out of school, kept them buried away at home because they're going to die. No. All right, 25, 34, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, but hey, here we go. 65, basically retirement age, 65 and over. These are your biggest chunks. You got 36,000, 44,000, 52,000. I mean, we're talking exponential here almost. So we got, well, it's not exponential, but we still have, 1,000, 3, 8, up until 55 years of age, where you get even above 10,000. And this, again, is since since February 1st. You're telling me that people who are 85 years or older, 52,939 of them died with COVID in their system. I want to check up the numbers on how many people that age range and over die on a regular basis without COVID, pre-COVID, last year, because I'm going to tell you they're probably pretty close. Or just, higher up. Because, I mean, come on, 85 years? Most of those guys are getting ready to die anyhow. I mean, they have to. Because you can't get older. You only can get to a certain range, and then eventually we all die, right? Anyhow, moving on. So then we have, see other things we got here. We got influenza and pneumonia. Okay, so 71,700, all ages, had influenza and pneumonia, and then also died with COVID. So how to read this stuff. All right, continuing on. We continue on. Some of these things, we got cardiac arrest. They died of a heart attack, too. They had a heart attack with COVID in their system. To ask me how a heart attack with COVID, if you had the two together at the same time, which one's going to kill you? I'm probably going to go with cardiac arrest. That's just me. Heart failure. Really, heart failure. If your heart failed, you are dead. I don't think COVID had anything to do with that, especially since COVID is believed to be or known to be a respiratory disease. I'm pretty sure it didn't shut your heart down. Oy, 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 oy. One of the favorites I went through here, we got obesity. This cracks me up. But this is the one that I have some very serious questions about here. Intentional and unintentional injury, poisoning, and other adverse events. Intentional injury. I stabbed myself. You died because of COVID. I'm sure I already made this crack at some point in time. Unintentional injury. I fell off a ladder and died. COVID. Okay. I mean, I suppose falling off the ladder, stabbing yourself, they were in the hospital, they also had COVID, and then they died. I don't know how you can necessarily say COVID killed them when they were there for something else. Poisoning. Again, poisoning probably wouldn't have killed you, and then COVID helped push you over the edge. Other adverse events. Please tell me that's where the numbers are for car crashes. I know that's in there. Has to be, because I know that was some of the stats taken earlier on, as there were numbers being in there. People died in a car crash, from the car crash. They tested them. Oh, hey, look, you got COVID? Pfft, you died from COVID. What the hey? And then we have all other conditions and causes residual. Who knows what that is? But let's look at the number up here, right? 169,000 from COVID altogether had COVID in their systems. We scroll down here, and the other category is 82,433. So almost half of the people who died with COVID is in a miscellaneous character of what other conditions they had in their system. Okay, now you're confusing me here. Almost half of the people who die with COVID in their system had so many other diseases in their system, or had all these minor things in their system, that we don't know if it was COVID or the other thing in there. Now, it could just be that, let's say chicken pox. Let's pretend chicken pox not going to kill you. Then you had COVID, and that helped push you over the edge. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be a cancer patient. They don't even have cancer in here. So it could have cancer in here as one of these other conditions. I suppose if I looked up these ICD-10 codes, I'm not a doctor, so I have no idea what they all mean or where to look them up, but I'm sure I could probably find cancer in one of these numbers somewhere. They could have died from cancer and had COVID in their system, and they said, boom, COVID did it. All right, so that's just quick things up there for you guys to kind of chew on.